So I think I've said a lot about traditional publishing, a little bit about distribution, so you kind of get an idea of what the publishing world is like. Now to talk about independent publishing, which is what I do. Independent publishing has got a lot of pros to it because I keep complete editorial control, complete creative control. I don't have to work with any editor, chief editor. I don't have to convince anybody that this is the way it should be said, okay? And that your way is not as good as this way, etc. So you have complete editorial control of the material itself. You have complete creative control. And this is important because I've worked with editors. I've hired my own editors. And, you know, we've almost gotten into fistfights, except she's a karate teacher, so I didn't want to get into it with her. But even that first editor at Firefly Books that I was telling you, What is Love, the second book, they said, yeah, we'll take your book, Etan, but we have a lot of problems with the text, and we don't want to use the illustrations either. All you have to do is sign the contract and let our editor just re-edit it. And I said, okay, what does the editor say? And the editor made some notes, and I had another editor, an independent editor, and he and I looked at her notes, and we concluded that this person didn't understand the book, basically. Okay, so we wrote some polite responses and came back from saying that, yeah, we want to edit the book, but the editor doesn't want to interact with you. So we'll just edit the book. You don't have to do anything else. So we concluded, why don't you write your own book? See, you know the material so much better. I'm out of here. You write it. You know, but I'm just saying you then maintain creative control, and that's a nice thing. Okay? You can hire an editor. You can hire me, and I will help you edit it too. But I'm just going to work with you to try to make it better. But you're going to have the final say, whereas the chief editor has the final say in the publishing house, not I. And I still use editors. I don't hire a professional editor anymore because it confused me, actually, after a while. I don't know what's right anymore because these people are very smart, these editors. And, but now what I do is my sister, for instance, is a school psychologist. She's a PhD, so she's one of my editors. I give her the manuscript and I say, just mark it up. What do you like? What don't you like? What did I miss? You know, and I have social services people, or when I was working on, What is Right, you know, then I had some attorneys helping me. Believe it or not, they do know sometimes. What is Dreaming? I worked with some shrinks on this one. You know, What is Peace? I worked with some people who run violence and trauma centers, domestic violence centers, so we talked about. So they read my manuscripts. They gave me notes. I worked with some financial advisors on What is Money. So those are my editors now, you know, real people. And I love it because I don't want these books to be Etan's opinions on the subject matter. I want this to be as wide, as useful as possible to the teachers, to the children, of course, parents. So you can use an editor. You just decide what kind of editor do I want to use. You know, do I want to hire a professional editor? And then people sometimes ask me, do you think this book will sell? I mean, is this book sellable, you think? Don't ask me that question. You're asking a person who spent 15 years hawking an unsaleable book, okay? And then he finds out from some drunken guy that, yeah, that book is saleable. So I would never, if you come to me for a consultation, I'll never tell you, no, this book, just put that away. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you that. That's ridiculous, okay? You must have that self-belief that we were talking about, that you know that this is a great book, no matter what Etan says, no matter what, you know, this expert over here said. So I will never discuss that with you. I'll help you, you know, try to shape it. What are you trying to say here? Can you say this a little bit better? You know, we don't leave dangling participles at the end of a sentence. You can, but, you know, trying to teach children grammar here as well. So you maintain creative control. Then if you're a children's book author, I choose my illustrator. All right, how many people are doing children's books here? Anybody? Okay, even if you're not doing a children's book, maybe you're doing an adult book, but you want the cover, you know, to look what you want the cover to look like. You have an idea of what your cover should look like. Even if you're writing an adult fiction book, nonfiction book, you have an idea. So you get the graphic designer and you tell them, this is what I want. Okay, please do this for me. No, I don't like it this green. Do you have a lighter green that you can use? Not this green. I prefer a lighter green. And I do that. I drive my guy nuts. But I pay him. I'll show you one book here. This is outrageous, but I can do it because I'm outrageous and I'm the publisher. You see these three monkeys over here? Well, this little monkey used to bug the hell out of me because he was incorrectly done, according to my eye. And when I used a new graphic designer, I said, can you go in there and put a whole new monkey next to these monkeys over here? They said, yeah, I could do that. And so he put a new monkey in there, and now I'm happy. See, I can do that. I don't know if it bugged anybody else, but it bugged me. That monkey was done wrong. And so I'm saying you can take that control, and I love doing that. I love working with the artist. I love conjuring up the image. In fact, what the text says, and yeah, let's put a little squirrel over here. In fact, let's put two little squirrels, and they're arguing, see? Yeah, make these two squirrels arguing. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I don't care. You know, the moon, no, I don't like the moon with the eyes closed. I like the moon looking at the people down there. Okay, do that. I know that sounds crazy, but I enjoy the creative process. And I found somebody who will work with me. You know, some of these artists are very persnickety and they're artists. Artists, you know, they have their way of doing things, which is fine. But this book, this series has a look, and I want to maintain that series look, even though I've used 5 artists because I fired 4 of them, okay? Because they didn't do it on time, and I lost money because they were artists, and et cetera. And their daughter had a granddaughter, and the cat got cancer. And, you know, all kinds of things happen with artists, but I've got to pay them, see, and I've got my own schedule here that I'm working on as well. I'm just saying again, creative control, creative control. That's an important thing to the creator, isn't it? That you maintain it. We're rugged Americans, and we want, you know, control of what we do. So it's the artistic control, and now you have you're working with your printer in China, and I will handhold you for a fee. I will take you through the printing in China process, because there you actually can make money. See, they don't pay people over there. If you've ever been to, I was at the Beijing International Book Fair, so I really learned about China. 70% of that 1.2 billion people, 70% of 1.2 billion people may earn less than $1,000 per year. So that nice girl who's behind the counter at your hotel, she's probably getting $100, $150 a month. Okay, and the pressmen in the printing, and you see how they kill us, how they killed American printing is like this. Lou Dobbs could do an episode on this. Is that they use the same exact presses that we use. They use a Japanese Mitsubishi press, or they'll use a German Heidelberg press. They use the latest $10 million presses, okay? The printing is impeccable. You can examine these books yourself. You know, I mean, it's impeccable. Laminated cover, you know, case bound. We can do anything. I can do anything with these guys. I can make these books out of plastic so that they'll float in the bathtub if I want to. No, they do that. They put the microchip in there. Anything you want, they'll do. I mean, they will, for that much. Because the pressmen that we pay here $20, $25 an hour, they're paying $3 an hour, all right? So this is how I actually can make money, or Walmarts can actually make money here, is because we're working with slave labor, you know, as much as I hate to admit it. But I mean, for them, they're doing well in their society, these pressmen, but they don't pay taxes. They don't, you know, there's all kinds of ways. So a book like this, which I'm now selling for $15.95, I can get to the Port of Los Angeles for about $3. Now I can actually make money, see, in this book. And that's a minimum order of 2,000 books or 2,500 books. Minimum order. I said minimum order because these presses are as big as this auditorium, and they switch on and like 1,000 shoot out till they adjust the inks, etc. So you have to order 2,000, 2,500. They don't even want to do orders like that. Okay, those are minuscule orders for them.